Up only.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Up only.
Hello and welcome to Up Only TV. I'm Ledger. We've got Odell Beckham Junior in the house tonight. I can't believe it. It's completely ridiculous. We're excited to have him. Stick with us. First off, this episode is brought to you by FTX. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. If you've never made a trade there, you can do it today. You can track your wallet like you've always known and loved, but swap back and forth from any asset that you like. Earn yield on your collateral. You can do it all at FTX. Rebranded from Blockfolio. Y'all know that by now. It's FTX. uponly.tv/FTX. Thanks to FTX for being our partners on Up Only exclusively. Let's get to the deal. We've got Odell Beckham Junior. Cobie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We've got like one of the elite athletes of the world in the house tonight talking crypto, and I'm excited about it.
This stream serves two purposes. Purpose one is we get to talk to O about crypto and NFTs and everything. And purpose two is it makes Ledger look cool in front of his new neighbors.
Yeah. Dude, so I was telling Cobie earlier that I was across the street, new neighbors, and they were throwing throwing football back and forth. And this kid has the wide receiver gloves on and everything, running routes. And I just asked him, I was like, "Hey, who's your favorite receiver?" And he said, without a gap, I didn't talk to no prep. He said, "OBJ, no doubt." So I was gonna see if you could give a shout out to Seaver next door.
Seaver, what's going on, man? OBJ here. Appreciate the love and support, man. Keep practicing out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go, Legend. Now you're the cool neighbor.
Now I'm the coolest neighbor that could be.
OBJ, welcome to the show. I don't know how you've ended up here, but thank you so much for coming on. What is your normal day like? Like you've chosen to come chat to us. What have you like kicked out of your schedule to do this?
So right now we're in training camp, and it's pretty much like a 7 a.m., 7:30 wake up to about kind of around this time is when everything finishes up. So it's 7 a.m., meetings 9 to 12. We got a little break. I usually catch a workout. Then we got practice. After practice, I usually do some other kind of, footwork or workout then, and then we have our like night meeting. So by the time 7:30, 8 o'clock hits around, like I'm just wrapping up the day. And I'm usually pretty exhausted. Today we got a different kind of schedule because we were hosting a joint practice. So I got a little time to come home. I caught like a 40-minute nap, man. I just did not want to wake up. So the days just starting to get long. For me, when you get in a training camp each and every year, I find it to where like it's impossible to know which day of the week it is by the time you're 15 days in. So
I saw y'all were practicing with the Giants today. Did you say anything to your former teammates?
No, I seen some of the guys that I still know over there, Sterling Shepard, Saquon, some of the coaches and everybody, and just saying, what's up? Like, it's always all love, especially between those people. So it was kind of strange, like, but, life goes on. It is what it is. So it was good to be able to see him as well.
Yeah. So you should know Cobie does not know anything about football. Like to him, football.
I know stuff about football, just not your football.
Football.
Yeah. Look, I tried to read some rules before the call, and I didn't understand any of it, if I'm totally honest. But I did see some people sent me a clip of you doing like this weird superhuman like backflip catch thing, and that didn't look like you were like defying gravity. And I was like, that looks very impressive. I don't know what happened, but it looked really cool. So.
I appreciate it. That was definitely a pretty interesting moment in my life, to say the least.
Was that the like most viral a single play had ever gone for you?
1,000%. To be honest, I had just gotten on Instagram, I think in 2013. It's like I remember looking up this information of when my profile was created or whatever. Because I was always like, why would I post a picture to say what I need to say when I have Twitter? And I could just say whatever I want to say here. And then I kind of remember getting on Instagram and just, being very new into that. And then that moment happened. And for me, this was something I've trained all my life for that moment to happen. So when it happened, it finally was like, damn, I finally got that catch in the game. Like, you know, the one-hand catch we've been practicing. We all receivers want, you know, were fascinated with catching the ball one hand. So I finally got that, but never knew that it would have been as viral or take me to the places that it's taken me in my life now. So definitely super appreciative of it. You know, it came from a lot of hard work. So just right time, right place.
Yeah.
When you made the catch, did you think in your head, holy shit, that's gonna look cool?
It definitely was like, it was more of like a weight off my shoulders. You know, my best friend is Jarvis Landry, and he's the one who kind of, you know, we got into the one hand catching and stuff like that. So when the moment happened, it was like, yes, of course, yeah, I do this. Like, yeah, I do this. But never would I have known it was gonna do what it did. Like, I just could have never predicted that.
So y'all went to LSU together. I have to give a little bit of backfill on this stuff because otherwise Cobie won't know what we're saying.
Yeah.
So you and Jarvis Landry went to LSU together. You were Rookie of the Year out of your first year in the NFL. Like, both of y'all have had like amazing careers, and now you're back together. What's it been like being back with one of your best friends from college at the pro level when y'all are like the veterans in the league now?
Man, I can't even, like, words don't do justice for, you know, all the countless nights that we would, you know, sneak into the facility at LSU, just be outside of our room, sitting there talking about life, throwing a football back and forth, just talking for hours. You know, man, we're going to play on the same team. I'm going to have my house right next to yours, like all these things. And now, I mean, I literally take a right and I can get to his house. You know what I mean? Like, just like that. He lives 2 to 3 minutes away. And now we're on the same team, and just someone who you can have that can hold you accountable at all times. You know, we've known each other since we were 16 years old, and have pushed each other to get to this point. I really don't know where I would be without him. So to finally be back on the same team and have an opportunity to do everything that we ever dreamed and talked of, is truly a blessing.
That's cool, man. I won't talk much more about teammates, but I do got to ask you, I'm an Auburn alumni, and Anthony Schwartz just entered your wide receivers course. So are y'all hazing him, giving him a hard time, or what's it like for a rookie wide receiver coming into a group like that?
We definitely give him a hard time. You know, the rookie duties, you got to get the snacks, and just, you know, we're always going to be on him. And he's a guy he's fast. And I've always been like the one who's the fastest in the room, or, you know, if not the fastest on the team, one of the fastest on the team. So I still haven't given him that throne or title yet, but I mean, this kid can run, and I realized that. So I don't think we give him as much love because he went to Auburn. So it is.
Yeah, he had to choose between football and the Olympics. So he's pretty fast, but he's got a lot to learn from y'all. So Cobie, should we talk about crypto, or you want? Yeah,
I was just chats enjoying your career pivot to like sports journalist, to like Ledger's living his best life right now. He's loving it.
There's a lot of sports journalists that would kill for this interview, so might as well ask a couple of questions.
I didn't want to go too deep into crypto straight away, but when we were talking about the catch moment going viral, it did remind me of the TopShot stuff where they've got these they've got the moments in the NBA or whatever in it. And it sort of made it make sense to me because people really like these like moments that happen, and that sort of made TopShots click, and I was like, oh, I kind of get it now. People have this moment. It was like, it's cool. Everyone, the moment itself goes viral, not like a particular game or a particular player or like a stats or something. So that clicked a little bit for me, but I'm sure we'll get to NFTs in a little bit. I want to ask you, how did you end up in crypto? How did you find out about it? What was the beginning of the journey like?
It's kind of more of like, the world is evolving, to say the least. And I find myself, just bringing it back just to football a little bit. You talking about Schwartz, and I remember he gets there, and he's like, yeah, man, I remember I was a freshman in high school when I was watching you in the league. And it just kind of like, it makes you feel like I don't necessarily know how to take that. I appreciate it, but it's just that times are evolving, the world is evolving, and I'm seeing that this is where to be. This is the space. So I've really been someone who's, when I really have the time to try and find out the most information about this space and how really, to make splashes in it, to do the right things, and what would give you the chances to have the most success. So I'm definitely, I'll be honest with you, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm very new to the space. I have a team and business partners who I work closely with who know a little bit more than I do about this space, but definitely we, definitely have been down to learn, and it's something that's been exciting to me.
I heard in 2017 there were some news stories about how crypto was like the talk of locker rooms and stuff, and then I heard that some again in 2020 as Bitcoin and Doge and some of that stuff was going wild. I know 2020 was a different kind of year, but like, do you have teammates that you talk to about finance, or have any of them brought up crypto to you or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. We all, there's the chatter in the locker room, and we talk about those kind of things, not get too deep into finance, but you definitely have heard some people about, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, all these things. So it's definitely something that's intriguing. And like I said, I feel like if you don't get with this world, then you'll kind of get lost and you'll get left behind. So I know that this is hot now, and it could be something that could be for a very, very long time, but you just want to try and, just like anything else, gain as much knowledge and information as you can, so you could, make the right decisions in this as well.
Yeah, and I know that, like, for a lot of athletes, even when you come to the pros, you have some years where you're on your rookie contract or whatever, but then you get that second contract where you made it, you get the guaranteed money, and like your life changes a lot. Like you go from, you're not poor anymore, you're doing well, to like big money, and you have to figure out how to plan and what to do. Like, how did you approach that change in your life to like be responsible with that and try to like, be a good steward of the money and so that it lasts you a lifetime and not just like during these years while you're at your best performance?
Right. And I think that definitely comes with having the right people around you. Because if you think about it, you come into the league, from a lot of us who didn't come from money and didn't have money, and then you get a rookie deal regardless, that's good money, but it's not going to last you a lifetime. You get your contract. If you think about it, even Pat Mahomes, he's getting 500 for 10 years. It's like, when you think about it, I always just think about whatever number you see, like you're cutting it in half, like most likely. Just to be honest, this is the world we live in, America. Like, it's getting cut in half. And on top of that, it's like, okay, so if it's over 5 years, $100 million over 5 years, and now 50, 10 million, 5 years, you know what I mean? It's like, you have to find a way to be able to manage that and know that even that is not going to last your lifetime unless you're doing the right things, unless it's making money for you. None of it's going to last you a lifetime. So I definitely think that, when we're growing up, we never would have imagined to have to think about those things. You think the blind eye is going to be like, oh yeah, well, you're going to make this much money, like you'll never have to worry about anything again. And, there's bills, there's expenses, there's living, there's lifestyles, there's, family, there's all kind of things that come with it. So I think it's about finding which ways to use and utilize that money that you have been given to last you a lifetime and set up your future for yourself, your kids, kids, and generations to come after you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And like, having the right people around you that you can trust seems incredibly important. How do you put those people in place? Like, how do you find someone and then go like I'm going to trust you, like basically with my life, right? My well-being, and for the next sort of 5-10 years or whatever. It's a big responsibility.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a process, and there's always been growing pains. I mean, I'm sure you hear all the stories about, the athlete who's been, messed over by a business partner, or, all of the things that go on in that category. And for me, a lot of my stuff is family. It's the people who are on my top in the list of in your text messages, the little pins that you have. Like mine is pretty much, it's my family, and because no one's gonna look after you like family will. So it definitely was a process, and I feel like I'm very confident in the place and space that I'm now, to where I know that I will be good for the rest of my life. Obviously I want to handle my business and live out my lifelong dream and do what I'm capable of doing on the football field, and hopefully get another contract for whatever it is. But having those people around you is by far the most important part. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Does it make like a difference to like this sort of life financial planning that your career as an athlete is often much shorter than a traditional sort of like corporate career, which often lasts like, I don't know, how long do people live for now? Like 100 years, and like the pension age is going back because of the base in the dollar, so no one's got no money anymore in their pension. So maybe you like work 60 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only way to like find that balance from that their career lasts longer is that you might get more money up front. If they're 10 years and you're 10 years and they're 40 years, but the amount of pay is, maybe more in the 10 years over the 40 years, or similar at the end of the 40 years. It's about utilizing and like managing those 10 years to make it as if it was a 40-year thing. So I think it's really all about balance, like just finding the right ways, making the right investments, taking chances whenever you have to, and I think the rest will turn out pretty much great.
So in our world, sometimes we have stuff that we consider stable. So for like me and Cobie, Bitcoin or Ethereum might be the stable stuff. And then we have a smaller percentage that's like the degenerate portfolio. And you're like, this will probably go to zero, but it also might like 100x or something. Is
right.
that kind of the way that you approach money too, where you take some smart bets, and then you take some big bets with money that might not turn out the way you expect it to?
Exactly. I mean, I'm pretty much think I'm right there with you in that aspect. Like for me, I love the blackjacks, baccarat. Like I think about this in the same kind of concept. Like, all right, if you go in there and you're betting $100 chip and you're winning all night, you might have won $3,000, $5,000. If you going in there with 10K, 20K chips and you're betting and winning all night, you might have millions. Like, so it's
Look, mate, I've got a referral code for a high leverage trading platform for you. Just sign up with my referral code. You can bet as many 10Ks as you want.
Just type in up only at FTX.
But yeah, it's definitely, there's some, there's risk involved, and it's just about like, like I said, the balance. What are you willing to lose? Like, are you willing to make that bet? Because you do know, like you said, it could be zero, it could 100x. So just finding the right ones, hoping they all hit.
And you talked earlier about how the world is changing, and like, somebody young comes in the league, they start talking about something you never even heard that word before. In crypto, I'm kind of like that. Like the first time I heard the word metaverse, which is like within this NFT stuff and like virtual reality, I was like, I have no idea what y'all are talking about. And I feel like I know a lot about crypto, and then suddenly I'm behind. So is one of your like those bigger bets with smaller amounts of money, is that kind of the way you've approached crypto? Like you bought a punk, and you I heard you bought some Bitcoin, and you own crypto now. Is that kind of the way you're looking at this space, to just stay on top of like what could be the future of finance in addition to more typical investments?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Just kind of trying to find ways to stay ahead of the curve, and then in the meantime, while doing all that, be able to inform yourself and feel like you can catch up. Because like I said, man, it's been evolving, it's going to continue to evolve, and if you don't get with it, I just feel like you're going to get lost.
Yeah, it's been interesting because you've seen a bunch of athletes in America particularly now requesting to take some of their pay in Bitcoin or in crypto. And even, was it Messi just moved to PSG He's taken like some crypto portion of his pay package as well. Why do you think that started to happen now all of a sudden?
I honestly, and listen, I would like for you to answer that for me because if I'm missing out on something, I need to know.
I think
I just need to know. I really want to know because I think I seen who was it? Trevor Lawrence was talking about getting his contract full, and I was like, man, that's what I need to know from you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because they're printing so many dollars that holding dollars dollars are basically worthless. A worthless asset. They're worthless every single year, and you need to have some hard money, as Michael Saylor would say. And maybe they figured it out. But it might also just be that, one person did it and Bitcoin's been going up for a while, so that person looked really smart, and then a bunch of people wanted to join in.
Yeah, I think
and do it as well.
It was Russell Okung that was early to it. He's an offensive lineman, and I think he was the first person to say he was putting all his paycheck into Bitcoin specifically. And now there's quite a few people. I think Saquon Barkley's putting all his promotional stuff directly into crypto. And the part that I don't understand is I don't think you actually have to receive it in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. I think you could just take the money and then go invest it that way. But I don't, it's maybe it's like a discipline type of thing, if you get it in that, then you might not sell it. But if you have to go buy $1 million of it, you might be like, I don't know, man, should I be doing that?
Right.
So maybe that's part of it, but there's definitely a trend of people taking their paychecks in crypto.
So what would you think would be the best? Would you take it in crypto or take your money and then put it in there?
I think people have a hard time investing. It's the same reason people are bad at retirement accounts unless it automatically comes out, goes into your 401k or whatever. And I think that's probably where some of this comes from. So here's what I think you should do. Actually,
God, here we go.
So you mentioned
here he goes.
You mentioned Trevor Lawrence and then also Tom Brady. They both have deals with FTX, our partners. So what we need is an OBJ FTX deal. We need to make this podcast financially beneficial for you, and then you can take payment from FTX in that promo in crypto, and then you can just hold it right there on FTX, and you can earn 5% yield on the crypto itself. There you go. Boom. We win.
Look, I'm just glad he didn't try and chill you fluffs on me bits or any of this rogue shit he's buying. He did pretty well there. You tamed you held it back. Well done.
I'm not telling him to go buy all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm just saying maybe a little Ethereum, little Solana for Sam.
Yeah. Look, I think it's similar to what you said. Where you said you immediately have to halve it. And so the number in your head is the half number and you got to acclimatize to that one. So if you take 10% or 15% in crypto and just move the number down in your head and forget about it forever, that's probably the best way to do it. I think that's what I would do if I were you. But I'm not a financial advisor. I'm mostly an idiot. So you could listen to the guy that looks smart.
That's not totally true though. Cobie didn't have to be really great at football to get the second contract money. He just survived all these other crazy people that got into crypto in 2012 and then got extraordinarily rich in 2017 when everything went insane. And now he's just getting wealthier because he stayed involved and stuck with it. And so he may say he's an idiot, but he's not, because there's not a lot of people that got in 2012 and have kind of been at the high end of the crypto ecosystem for that long.
Look, mate, wealth doesn't correlate with intelligence. Both can be true.
It seems to work out well for you, man. Man, I had a question because I've been looking at it this whole time. I couldn't tell if it was apple juice or, what is that? It looks like some...
Oh, it's got
it's... Well, my personal trainer is actually going to be watching this because he was like, "No way, you got Odell." This is the first time he's ever watched this podcast. He won't understand anything, so I'm going to say it's apple juice. Yeah.
It's
All
not
right.
apple juice.
I'm going to see him in the morning, so he'll kick my ass. But no, I'm drinking classic British cider from the West Country.
Okay.
Maybe from the West Country. Who knows?
It's not the right stuff.
The West Country.
They don't do cider properly anywhere else. The other thing that's been pretty popular over the last sort of 6 months or so has been NFTs, and it's sort of been an injection of new participants into the crypto market that weren't really that interested before, because sometimes like the DeFi stuff where you're creating a new money market or a synthetic like stock asset or something, people find that a bit boring or complicated. And NFTs was very simple. You get to own a moment, or you get to own some art, or you get to own a collectible or something. And it seemed to bring in a new wave of people into crypto that weren't super interested before. And a bunch of celebrities especially were getting involved. How in your mates in your circle, maybe locker room or whatever, how has that trend sort of been perceived?
I definitely know at first when I seen that the wave hit, it was a very, very big thing. And I looked at it and, looked over with my team. And one of my questions would be now, is this one of the things that, like, did you miss the real wave on this? Has it cooled off? Is it still a big option? Or what is your opinion on that as far as the NFTs and
yeah, so right now it's popping off again, like really popping off, especially over the last sort of month or so. It's been I think there's been more volume than there was back in January, but the volume switched to like collectible series, whereas before it seemed to be a lot of like artists, and the Beeple obviously was doing really well back then, and it's moved to like collectibles a little bit, I think. So this last month has been like NFT season 2, in my opinion, bigger than the previous one. And I often think that a lot of times when something is really popular and it has this sort of bubble or like this froth around it, that's because someone's had a good idea, but maybe it's a little bit early. So things grow in bubbles, and then, it sort of washes out, and people dwell on those ideas and then reapply those ideas again. And that's why these things like seem to surge over and over, and why crypto seems to grow in waves as well. So I think I'm a bit of an NFT. Ledger, apparently the stream's rugged, by the way.
No, it's coming
We're
back.
good?
It's coming back. Our connection is good. I don't know what the deal is.
All right, classic Twitch. That's why you don't use Twitch and you got to use YouTube. Yeah, I think that like those. I'm a bit of an NFT hater myself, but I think those. I think it's here to stay. It's around forever. It's a perfect convergence of like crypto, like ownership, like provable ownership, and collectibles, which have been popular for our generation. Like Pokemon cards got really big, and collectibles, and people are buying old video games and stuff. So I think those things are like converged into NFTs, and I think it will be around for the next as long as crypto's around, basically.
Yeah, the about what was it, 3 weeks ago, Cobie? A bunch of like big hedge funds and like serious investors went and bought a whole bunch of like the older, more established NFTs, including I think like 80 or something CryptoPunks. And you just bought a CryptoPunk, they're expensive, so they bought a whole bunch of them, and that definitely increased the prices some in the near term. But I think if you look at the long-term effects, if NFTs are here to stay, then it still works as kind of that, like, you're not like the earliest, but you're probably not like too late, because most people haven't even gotten started with this stuff, can't figure it out. So it might seem expensive, but it probably isn't in that longer term sense, because a lot of really smart people just put a ton of money into them. So I think that plays a part into like the really higher quality stuff, or stuff that has a cultural hold, because, you look at like CryptoPunks as an example. I mean, you bought one, you looked at it, it's a pixelated image that, people find one that looks like them or resonates with them. It's not necessarily that you look at it and you're like, wow, this must have taken so long to create. But it's got this cultural impact that crypto native people just love these things and value them. And that's what establishes that value. And I think that's where a lot of that comes from. And I think if you're investing in something like punks, I'm not an advisor either, or like, a collection where you really believe in it and think it has strength, like it's probably not the worst play in the world. Similar to the regular art market, there's tastes for all types.
Right. No, I completely understand. No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm a sponge who I just like to learn, so that way, therefore, I can make a decision based off of what I feel and what I know. So another part of that question is like when I was asking, is it the time now to do it? Is like for me, I wouldn't want to miss. I wouldn't want to put out something and try and get into the space because I know that everyone's into it, but you like miss the ball. I just wouldn't want to do the same how I am on the field. Like I don't ever want to have a bad game. Like that's not how I would want to be remembered. So I think that's been a little bit of hesitancy that I've had there. Not saying that there isn't been ideas and things going on, but just kind of a bit of like until I really feel like okay, I really know. I haven't completely dove in.
I think the other,
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
after you, mate.
Okay. The other thing that I would note, and I think this happens with everybody that gets in, almost all of us that have gotten into crypto got in at a pretty bad time because it's like when we heard about it, when our friends were excited and it did this like big move up, and it tends to be cyclical, like a little bit of a roller coaster. The trajectory is still up, but it, a lot of up and down in between. And most people, if they feel like they got burned and they have a short-term lens, then they just peace out, and they forget about it. And they like, this is stupid. It's a scam. I'm out of here. No thanks. Whereas when sometimes if it gets quieter and it's more boring for a while, or you see stories where it's like, oh, it's down 50%, that's if you still have the same belief about it being a part of the future of technology and finance and those things, then your core convictions or your fundamentals are still the same. So that's when you should be dollar cost averaging back in or something like that, or like doubling down. That's a better opportunity to not miss the boat the next time that like the public kind of pops off about it. And that would be my encouragement to you. Like in the past year, a lot of people have been talking about crypto. A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I don't know, maybe it's a super cycle like some of our friends talk about. But if it's not, if it cools down again, that's a good time to be like, hey, we need to think about this, because my conviction, I think Cobie's conviction, is that this stuff's going to be around for a long time and change a lot more culturally than most laymen think so.
Yeah, I think you're also in an interesting spot because you're also in a spot where you could be an NFT creator. The sport you're in could like have a curated creation of its own. And I think that a lot of people sort of rush into that and go like, let's just do something. Like we saw the Lindsay Lohan terrible Lindsay Lohan NFTs, and like there's been a lot of them where they just super miss the mark. And then you've had people come in and do stuff really well, and it's connected really well. And I think taking that time to like think about like what is going to be valuable over the long term, and what do people really want? What do they want to own? I think that makes a lot of sense. Like if you had your the catch we were talking about at the start of the stream as an NFT, I think that would have gone crazy. But
you can even do a
see
derivative
Marvel.
of it, like it doesn't even have to be the picture. It could be like a painting that somebody did of the same thing. Like, so it's got like the stacked value of the artwork. I don't know. I think there's a lot of cool things that you could do there.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, you've got like Marvel, who are doing this weird, like they're putting out NFTs of the old comic books, and it's just like detached from reality, and it like seems like they're just doing it because someone's told them they've got to do it. Someone's trying to like not lose their job because they haven't done an NFT yet. So I do think taking the time and going like, what is valuable over the long term? What do people want? How can you build something sustainable that people want to continue to collect? I think is really important.
Yeah. No, I 1000% feel you on that. For me, I'm very like, it's got to be authentic to me, and it's got to be something that like I feel good about, not just like, okay, this is, you know what I mean? Like you're just putting it out because you think that it's gonna. I don't know. I feel like in my past, as I've gotten older, I realized mistakes that I made when I was younger. If you did something and it was just for, whether it was for money, whether it was just for, a quick check, that it didn't work out the same way as when you've put something, like you've put thought and effort and care into it, then it, usually turns out a lot better for you.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I got one for you. You need. I made this slight adjustment. I made a slight adjustment to the GOAT cleats that you made and put the up only logo on there. But I like this. I like this picture. It's like it's just elite versus elite. I sent this to our buddy Chris when we were first talking about seeing if you could come on the show. But I
Did you genuinely make this yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my God.
It's a bad Photoshop, but I had.
Mate, you've got kids. You've got kids. How are you spending time doing this?
You know what? Some things are worth the effort.
I got to ask, what made you want to get a CryptoPunk?
Man, it's just like I said, it's part of like my team, part of the people and the, you know, kind of the ones who are ahead of the curve or looking out for what is to be next. We're saying that this is gonna be it. This is pretty big in the space, and you know, like I say, when you put those people in that position and you trust them, you rock out with them and their decisions, and you know, you come together as a team, you make that decision. So it just kind of happened. I mean, very, very recently. So yeah.
Did you like look through them all and like pick which one you wanted? Did you get a selection presented to you like, here you go, which one resonates with you the most?
Pretty much. I mean, you're looking at them now, and it's like, I kind of like how you said you could have like a collection of them. You know, it's like not just one, like you could have a few of them, and how kind of over time it'll, you know, do well for you. So, but I had a question. So I had a question for you. If I gave you, I'll give you, if I gave you, not I will, but if I gave you $1 million.
Wait, but is this a commitment? Because like, all right, let's do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
Depends on your answer.
Okay.
If I gave you $1 million right now and you were to tell me where to invest that in, what would you say?
Well, do you want me to be like a full degenerate and potentially lose all your money? Or do you want me to be like safe and like, I don't want to lose all of OBJ's money? So
I want you to taste the apple juice one more time and then give me your most degenerate answer.
All right, Ledger, you go first.
I would say you have a lot of upside with some of the, what we would call like majors. So like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Ethereum in particular is a bigger bet on like technology and not just like scarcity. Like I think of Bitcoin like gold, and Ethereum, you might think of it more like you would like a tech stock, you know, like something with a lot of growth potential, a lot of network activity in the future. So I think you could take half of it and just put it in Ethereum. And honestly, even if the other half went to zero, that would probably double or more in the long term. And like, you wouldn't feel like you got rugged by like, you know, losing half your money on the other stuff. And then you could take the other half, because assuming this is this $1 million, you know, for somebody like you, it's probably like 1% of your net worth or something like that.
How weird.
So you take that, take the other half, and then, you know, you spray it out a little bit more. Maybe take some and do like the equivalent of like seed investments, because those tend to be really good if you can bet on good people. So have somebody to help you curate those seed investments. You'd have access to those. And then put some on like potential growth projects that you think are sitting in the place where the market will exist. So the two that I believe in, one is decentralized finance, which is a more complicated term, but think like banking, but on a blockchain. And then the second would be this idea of like NFTs, but not just for art. What if like real estate are also NFTs, or other physical items in the real world? And like who's building infrastructure for that ecosystem? And I would spread out those smaller bets across those two sectors.
Perfect.
All right, I would. Oh God, I'm gonna get a load of flack for this. I'm not really supposed to name projects, because like, what if someone that's watching just puts it in? But fuck it, here we go. I would buy a bunch of alternative, like Ethereum killers, especially ones that seem to be undervalued relative to market. So you got like Cardano, which is really overvalued relative to its compares, or maybe it's not. If you like Cardano, we're not going to diss Cardano on the stream, but you got like your Avalanche, your Solana, and those kind of projects. I would stick a bunch in there. I would stake it. I'd put 33% in Ethereum. I would stake that on the Beacon chain using a popular decentralized finance staking product.
He's his own business.
Then I would I put 10% into like an array of like Grail NFTs, like the Fidenza, or you started on Punks already, some of those, and then I'd buy the DeFi projects that I think will stick around over the long term. I mostly actually bet on teams, which I think you're not supposed to say because that's makes it more likely to be an illegal security. But I think the balance of team is really good. The Curve team's pretty good. So I would spread it out over smart contract chains. Decent amount allocated to Ethereum, but then hedge against Ethereum success with other alternative layer ones. Decentralized finance applications, ones that are going to be useful no matter what, and then like buy the culture. So take a bunch of NFTs that sort of define early Ethereum culture. I don't think gambling on new NFTs is a good idea, even though you can flip them and do really well. I think you buy the culture, like if crypto's here to stay for 50 years, then these cultural moments are really important, and owning those early cultural moments is probably the best thing you can do. And there will be other ones, and you can try and guess what they are, but it's not going to be 3D rabbits, Ledger. It's not going to be three-dimensional creepy rabbits. It's going to be something. It'll be so hard to guess what those things are. So, go safe, go culture, and chill. Now,
I have a question. It's more of a quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So here's one that those of us in the crypto community know about. So this is a piece of art that just sold. I want to ask you. Odell, what do you think this sold for? This is a picture.
Is this Weiss's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man.
Just
say, I'll just put out a number of 10 million.
10 million.
There you go, Alex. Alex, you're good. It sold for 2 million, right?
It was 650 ETH, I think.
Yeah, that's about 2 million, I think. All right, Alex, look. Alex, you're good. Undervalued. Alex got a great deal for the first time ever.
650 million. We are early.
It sold for how much?
It sold for $2 million. This is a picture. It's part of a collection that's really well known. So it's not to diss it. They're called Fidenzas. We can look at some more of them, but.
I wouldn't be able to tell you, man. I had a few questions before. I still got to get like one more little treatment session in. I'm trying to think. Oh, you got a few for me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
two-part question. It's like, so without, like telling on yourself or putting any business out there, like how much money do you think you've made throughout this? Give me the low ball number where you're like comfortable saying, but like you could look at me with a wink. How much?
Wait, is the question how much money do we have?
No. Made during this process, or just tell me half.
We'll see. All of our money is in this process.
Yeah, I don't have any other money.
we don't have any money anywhere else. So if crypto goes to zero, we also go to zero. We talked about, we talked smart earlier about diversifying. But yeah, so, your stuff's public. Like, you sign a contract and it's like in the news. So I think Cobie should be public too. Mine's not,
right.
I'm a new guy. I'm a pleb, but Cobie, I think he should be able to talk about it.
Her Majesty's Revenue Services, any other federal agencies, I have finally made it to £1,000.
Yes, perfect. So what's the greatest trade that you've made in this? Like, what the craziest thing you've seen or that you could tell me about, like, just kind of.
All right, so I'll tell you a few.
Yeah,
I can tell you a few of like the crazy things I've seen. The best trade I ever made, I'll tell you a serious answer first because it's boring. But the best trade I ever made was like when I got into crypto straight away. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just buying stuff because this guy called Bill Still on YouTube was telling me what it was, and I didn't really understand any of it. And I bought stuff and I did really well. I'd like 100x my money in the first month. by buying 2 things. And then my next trade was the best one I ever made because I lost like 70% of it. And it took me down a peg. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not a genius. Maybe I should spend a bit of time thinking about it. But that combination of those 3 trades, like the 100x into minus 70%, taught me that there's tons of money to be made here if you make the right decisions, but you can also lose it really quickly. So you need to like figure out a system. You need to figure out why something's worth a lot. What did I do right the first times and what did I do wrong afterwards? And how can I put rails on that so over time I can build like a sustainable strategy about it? If you want to see the crazy shit, when in 2013, 2014, I don't remember, an exchange called Mt. Gox died. They were trading Bitcoins, but they didn't really have any Bitcoins. They'd lost them all. So you were actually trading nothing. And then when everyone figured out, Bitcoin crashed and people were obviously trying to sell them to get dollars to withdraw the dollars from the exchange in an attempt to get their money out. And everyone that was on Mt. Gox lost all their money, basically.
And so for a brief, everything they had there, like, millions. Yeah, including a few of my friends. Fortunately, they were early enough that it didn't really matter because they just reinvested. But I think it probably makes a big difference to their net worth over time. But they're fine now. But some genius figured out this weird API thing they could do and set up a website called Bitcoin Builder. And Bitcoin Builder traded Gox coin to Bitcoin, which was sort of like an options contract on whether Mt. Gox had actually lost their Bitcoin or not while no one knew. So this fake Gox coin, which was actually worthless in the end, that's the spoiler, was trading from like 90% to 0% every fucking day. It was just like going, you can make 100% up and down in a day. And it was phenomenal. And the exchange didn't work properly. It would always lag and break. So it was super, super, super inefficient. The other crazy thing is Mark Cuban got completely rugged on Titan. He invested in this thing. He wrote a blog post about why he's investing in it. And then it just went to 0 2 days later. It went straight to 0 in a straight line, like to 0, like a death he lose?
candle.
It was a lot, like $8 million or something. Did I make that up?
Yeah, he instantly asked for the regulators to get involved.
Yeah, that was a tough one. So in classic fashion, I will tell you about trades that I should have made, but I did not, where I owned them and then I sold too soon because that's just part of my life. So one was last fall, this organization called Pancake Swap, which is why I did not take it seriously, gave me, or I'm sorry, they didn't. They gave me $100 worth, and I did hold on to that because I forgot about it, and it turned into like $7,000 or $8,000 because I forgot about it. But I put in about $5,000 to their product to try it, and I did not forget about it. So I took it out for break even, and if I just would have forgotten about it like the other part, it would have turned into like $600,000 in about 2 months. So
yeah, I've done that. I've done that a lot. And I think it is a thing that you learn in crypto is like the top is always way higher than you think. And it can also go way lower than you think. So on the way up, you like sell, I always do it, like sell at a 5x. I make like a few $100,000 and I would have made like 50 million if I just held it. And then on the way down, I think people do it as well. Oh, it's already dropped 50%. It can't go much lower. But on the way down, it can just keep going down 50% forever. That's how 50% works. It could keep halving for the rest of time.
Yeah.
I don't think people like mentally are very good at understanding how much higher it can go on the way up and how much lower it can go on the way down.
Yeah, Doge was the other one where late last year I thought it was going to go up in January. I had this whole thesis about why I thought Doge was going to go up. And Elon Musk is talking about it all the time, and lots of people are really into it. And I bought it for like less than a penny. It was like a quarter of a penny, and it went to 60 something cents. So my modest investment would have been several $1 million of profit in like 2 months.
Do you remember the show we had BitLord on here?
Yeah, it was our first stream we ever did. And this guy,
and I bought it live on the show for 1 cent. And then I sold it the next day for 7 cents. Like, I'm a genius. I just killed it. I just like made $700,000 in a day. And then it just went on to 70 cents. I was like, let's not mention this again.
Man, that's nuts. That's all crazy.
So this happens in coins. It also happens in the NFT landscape. Like that Fidenza that I showed you that sold for 600 ETH, which is $2 million. The person that originally bought it for like $500 in March or something like that. So sometimes like a popular artist or an innovative project will come out and it's just like a rocket ship because there wasn't enough early and a lot of people want in or want to participate, and it just explodes as people push the price up to get into it. And that's why it's really easy to think like there's no way I'm getting in this. It just went up so much. And then, you know, you look back on it a while later and you're like, well, I was an idiot. You know, I should have just bought and done nothing except for like one of our past guests, the same one that coined the super cycle, just like go into a coma for 5 years. And when you get out of that, you're like, you're far more wealthy.
Oh, I know you got to go shortly, so I got only 2 or 3 more questions for you, and they're pretty quick. First is, a little while ago, we did like this stream. We started doing these raids where like me and Ledger would raid like a musician or a chess player or something and send them loads of viewers and send them a bunch of money. And it was wholesome and enjoyable. And then we did one with our friend Milkman Icebags, who we did a stream and we raised a bunch of money for Joe, whose dad, I think he spoke to John. And we raised $800,000 for a kid. He had leukemia. Turns out he was a big fan. So we're doing this stream and we're like sitting here and like all the money's rolling in and I'm freaking out because it's almost like $1 million donated to this family and they're on the call, like they're freaking out too. The dad got really drunk and started like playing songs to us. And then like someone in your team just sends me this video of you like, hey, you want to come to a game one day? And then I'm freaking out. And apparently they were more excited about that than they were about the money. Did you link up with them? Are they coming to a game one day in the future?
I mean, I'm sure that they will be coming to the game. I have not got to talk to, you know, Chris or any of the other people on my team about it, but
Cobie doesn't
I'm
know
sure,
the season hasn't started.
Yeah, I don't know nothing.
It hasn't started yet, but I'm sure we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah. All right, I reckon Joe will be pretty excited about that. So these raids we do, I don't know, I think Chris mentioned you might have seen one, but maybe not. If you're ever free in the future and you want to join in, just let us know. We'll do another one. We'll find a musician. And imagine if you're a musician, like it's already weird that you're like got a load of viewers that turned up out of nowhere and they're giving you money. Imagine how much weirder it would be if OBJ's there too. What's going on? Why is OBJ watching our stream?
No, absolutely, man. I would love to do some more, you know, this in the future and just kind of, like I say, just keep learning, keep evolving, man. That's the only way I feel like.
All right, and my final question is, can we do an NFT collectible set together? Look, like, I know the right people. I can get the contracts made instantly. we can make it real good.
The question is, does Cobie want to cut?
Yeah, I just want a little cut. It's fine.
Man, let's talk about it. You hit me when we get off of this.
All right. We're gonna bring back the Hashmask bonding curve contract. Ledger, you got anything else you want to ask?
I don't have anything major. I think the biggest thing I would like to ask is if you hear teammates or colleagues or people in the space, if they're talking about crypto, they're talking about NFTs, they're talking about how to make a bunch of money, send them our way for one, and then two. And I know you've been in the league a long time and. You know, you become wiser in your years. I'm an old man relative to all these crypto people and relative to you too, unfortunately. Yeah. Just, you know, be able to like give that word of caution of like, take it slow. Yeah. Don't think it's just going to all blow up overnight because, you know, that success is a process. I can't remember what the quote is, but I was looking at your Instagram stories before we came on. And there was one like a couple days ago, I think, where you talked about like the dreams are free, but the
work sold separately.
Yeah, the work sold separately. And I think it's the same thing when you're talking about investing, even in a space that's growing a lot. Because when something grows like that, there's ups and downs. You know, it takes a long time. So I hope that you'll be able to, you know, offer that to people if they're getting really excited and they want to drop that rookie contract on Doge when it's $1 or something.
No, 1,000%. I hear you, and I completely understand your message. Basically, tell all my teammates to be degenerates in this space. I got you. I heard you loud and clear.
Ledger, you want to ask the final question we ask all our guests?
Yeah, so we like to ask people for something that they want others to carry away, a bit of advice, something they've learned in their life, something that has helped them become the success that they are today, because all our guests are wildly successful and handsome and everything else. So if you have a tip for our audience, what would you like to leave them with? This is our piece of alpha.
It's a definite deep question, but I think it kind of off of the last thing that you said, just talking about success and how it's a journey. You know, for a guy like myself, I came into the league, I took off early. I've hit bumps in the road. I hit another bump in the road. I hit, you know, potholes in the road, and you just feel, you know, everything's crashing down, and there's, you know, times in life where you want to give up. I think, you know, not like a fight on type message, but it's like to keep going. You know, there's dreams and goals and accomplishments that you want to achieve. Don't ever let anything deter you or steer you away from ultimately where you feel in your heart you should be and where you want to be. So my message would just to be always to go after it and chase your dream. Don't be scared to fail, because the only way to succeed is probably to have failed. So yeah, man, just keep going.
I love it.
Thank you,
Odell
boss.
Beckham
Pleasure.
Jr.
Appreciate y'all, man. I really, really appreciate it, man. Definitely look forward to maybe doing some more of this in the future.
Let's hit it. Appreciate
Thanks so
it.
much for coming on, Beck.
Thanks for coming.
Love. Absolutely.
That was Odell Beckham Jr. Thank you for joining us. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. Make your first trade there today if you hadn't done it before. We appreciate y'all being here with us, and I guess we'll talk to you next time, huh, Cobie?
Were you a bit starstruck, mate?
Yeah, it's good.
I liked your.
He's pretty good at his job.
Yeah, I liked your sports report. Are you like you held back? You didn't hold back on that. You were straight in there. You're like, this has been my dream for years.
Well, I know. There we go.
This is the best Blockfolio advert ever. Please download Blockfolio or FTX or whatever it's called now in the App Store. Now available in the Google Play, and yeah, see ya.